alongside Yason Tafari. It's your weekly educational show. And tune in. It's inspirational, educational, and you won't want to miss it. It's everything agriculture. Hey, this man Easy, inviting you to tune in. It's all about everything agriculture with the man Banky and Company alongside Yason Tafari. It's your weekly educational show. And tune in. It's inspirational, educational, and you won't want to miss it. It's everything agriculture. Hey, this man Easy, inviting you to tune in. It's all about everything agriculture with the man Banky and Company alongside Yason Tafari. It's your weekly educational show. And tune in. It's inspirational, educational, and you won't want to miss it. It's everything agriculture. Hey, this man Easy, inviting you to tune in. It's all about everything agriculture with the man Banky and Company alongside Yason Tafari. It's your weekly educational show. And tune in. It's inspirational, educational, and you won't want to miss it. It's everything agriculture. Hey, this man Easy, inviting you to tune in. It's all about everything agriculture with the man Banky and
close by, also the folks up at Bahamas and North America, Miami, all the way up to Maine, Boston. Also the folks down in Miami, Chicago, Atlanta, New York, wherever you're at, throughout in the US, and also the folks over in Europe and also in Africa. Great appreciate you guys tuning in. I know you have different time zones, so good evening, good afternoon, good morning, whichever is appropriate. Because it's the last Friday of the month, Yason, and today is the last day of the Agriculture Expo that's happening right now. Yesterday was the first day of the 27th anniversary. Later on, we get into some of those discussions and stuff like that. But just want to say good evening, good morning, good afternoon, whichever appropriate. I just want my voice. And remember to share the link. And if you want to be a part of the show, the telephone number is 1-869-662-7196. I can message, and you have different media house. You got Twitch TV, Facebook, and YouTube. And remember to share the link. And our guest is Mikey Libod. Yes, son, how you doing?
I am giving thanks and praises. It's another beautiful day here in California. Not too hot. There's sun here and there, a little bit breezy. I got some time to prepare some beds for planting. As you know, it's getting closer to spring. It's warming up, and so it's time to really get going. So I'm just in that kind of mood right now, and that kind of phase right now. I want to say good night to the people of Wally, the people of Liamiga, people throughout the region, around the world, wherever you are, locked into us here on Real Entertainment Network. Those on the YouTube platform, those on Twitch, or whether you're here with us on the Facebook platform, we want to invite you to share the link and feel free to um, make your comment because we do follow the Facebook wall. And if you make your comments, we would actually share them because we can't do the show without you. So we definitely appreciate your presence and your participation as we do the show. So I'm looking forward to the discussion this evening with our guests, and I'm hopeful that you guys can tune in, call a friend, tell a friend, to log in and let's listen to this very interesting discussion.
Okay. Yes. Mikey, welcome to Everything Agriculture Show, and our media house is Real Entertainment Network. I mean, we've been doing this for a very long time. This will make 5 years. We have a large listening audience throughout all over the world as well, and throughout the Caribbean and so forth. And as I said earlier, I've known you for a very long time. You has been a down to earth person, still is. You're one of those person who should be running the country with the kind of mind you have and the personality you have and stuff like that, you know what I mean? And the will to always want to help others. Just a beautiful soul. I wish more people was like you and stuff like that. I know years ago there was an incident that I heard that you had an incident. And I was like, what? And then years later, I saw you and it's like, I mean, I was like shocked because I know you to be a vibrant, athletic person and that kind of vibes, you know what I mean? That kind of, and then I saw you and then I think all about to reach, but I said, no, 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 no. I said, all right, that's the Mike, you know. You didn't want me to help you. I said, good. All right. I said, right there, so no. This man gonna soon do it and this boom and see you next time. And it's like nothing. And see you next time you're doing poetry in the square. And next time you do it, I say, what's going on here? This man is a real Superman. It shows the
No, no,
mind,
don't.
the power of the
Yeah,
mind.
I did mine, but
And
don't,
yeah.
don't, you know?
Well, I'm just saying from my perspective, you know, and I
Yeah,
love.
okay.
You never know who watching
Yeah.
you, and who you're inspiring people, and what people think of you when they see you're going through something, and they realize the strength that you have within you, that you know that the person always have until they're going through a situation. So when I realize, and then I say, I was not surprised. You know what I'm saying? And I always admire and watch you, and I said, this guy have a story that should be told, and where you're at, you keep not just thinking about yourself, because you don't have to do the stuff that you do. You know what I'm saying? And you keep going out to seminars and different outreach and just inspiring others. You see, so
Yes.
what I want people to get is that you tell your story, what I'm talking about, and then they will say exactly where I'm coming from. So I could talk about the jovial part of it, and so who is Mikey, and you get into what the situation is and what you're about to do and all this different stuff and what you've been doing.
Yes. Yes. All right. Um, my name is Dwight Mikey Library.
Yeah. You said
But
you know them
in
the
Naval,
right part, yeah, son. You see, Nevis people.
in Naval, in Naval, in Navis, they call me Michael or Mikey. Okay.
Yes,
Or
yes.
when I came to the state for my study, I have to use Dwight. You know?
Okay.
Yes. So good evening again. You will hear me talk to you now. 2010, I could not. I was in an accident, or I have a stroke, and the stroke. I went in a coma for 3 days. When I woke up, my body, my right side of my body was paralyzed. And when let's say I have to go back to my ABCs to learn to read, to talk to you. I was on in the a wheelchair in the hospital because I could not walk. My right hand was paralyzed. My right foot was paralyzed. And the doctors told my sisters, my wife, he cannot read, so he will have to go back to speech therapy to learn to read again. I fought and I fought because I told myself it is not going to end here. I want people to know what is aphasia because I never heard the word aphasia.
Okay, Mikey, before you get into that, right? Before you get into that, I want you to start before. What lead up to you getting the stroke? What happened?
Okay, I do
Yes.
not really know, but I will.
But I mean, what you was doing at the time? I mean, what you was doing at the time
Yeah.
at the normal day? That's what I meant. Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
In 2010,
Yes.
the Saturday before Labor Day, I was playing football, soccer, you know.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, in the afternoon. It was just practice, you know. The goalkeeper tossed the ball out. Me and the next one went up to we got off the ground and we went to head the ball. But in fact, we did not head the ball. We both collided with our head. And in the minute I fall on the ground, I stay on the ground for about maybe 1 or 2 minutes. When I got up, my head was spinning. So I stay on the field for maybe a next minute. And then I told my friends, I will depart. And I went home. At home, I took some aspirin. But maybe that is what saved me for the night. I do not that evening I do not bathe my skin. So I went to sleep, and all night I went to sleep. The next morning I got up about 11 or close to noon. And I told my wife that I have a serious headache, you know. And yes, and then she told me that seemed like I have a stroke, getting a stroke. So when I told her, okay, I will bathe and then you will bathe and then we go to the hospital. In the hospital is where the stroke took place. And I went in a coma for 3 days.
Wow.
After that, when I woke up, my right side of my body, my right side of my body was paralyzed. So I take I 5 weeks I stayed in the hospital. So in the hospital I do speech therapy, I do physical therapy, and I do occupation therapy. Occupation is where with my hand, physical with my legs, and speech therapy is with talking. You know, when I came home, when I was in the hospital, I have to use a wheelchair.
Mm-hmm.
And when I came home, I could not talk, but I told my wife, I do not want a wheelchair.
Mm-hmm.
Just let me stay on my feet. Let's say I came home. When I came to my building, I took about 30 minutes from the ambulance to my home. I took about 30 minutes. So I told myself, I do not want a wheelchair because that is going to make me a little lazy.
Mm-hmm.
So I push myself, and now I am able to walk. I'm able to go to neighbors without anybody. All right, and that is how I was. So what I will tell you, in 2010 to 2013,
Mm-hmm.
I went to Blundell clinic to do my therapies, speech therapy, physical therapy, and physical therapy and occupational therapy. When I take 3 years to go at Blundell Hospital, I could not talk that time. I was trying to talk because what people say, right? Let us say I try to talk today.
Mm-hmm.
I will tell you, I know what I want to say.
Yes.
Yeah, but the words would not come out of my mouth.
Of course, got
Yeah,
you.
yeah. So I try to say it every time. Every time I will try to say it, and then after tomorrow I would try hard to say it. And now I could say it without mumbling.
Yes.
Yes. In 2013, I stopped going to Blundell Clinic, and I went to Lehman College for 10 years, for 2013 to 2023. And that is why I am able to talk to you. I learned to talk when I was ill in 2010. And right now, I am able to talk to you maybe well for you or you to hear me and understand what I am trying to talk about.
Oh, very clearly. I mean, you're very fluent in your speech and everything like that. Anyone who listening is just like me and them having a conversation. You're no different than any other guest. You know what I'm saying? I mean,
Yes,
you're very
yes.
fluent. I mean, no one would come and think that you had been through so much tribulation and
Yes.
stuff like that, and come from so far. But at Lehman College, what they did there? What you did there?
Yeah, speech therapy. Yeah,
Or
because
the college does that?
yes, because that is where I do my study. Because in 1990 to 1994, I went to the same college.
Okay.
Right? So now, what is aphasia? Aphasia, it is something without, let's say, I have a stroke. Aphasia is like I could not talk, I could not read, I could not. Let me see here. Okay. I could not read, I could not talk. The sentence, let's say you a person who have your body is well, you could talk to me, but I did not understand what you say. So time after time, I will understand what you are saying, but in the beginning, I do not understand what anybody says to me. Right? So now I am going to write a very short book to give my story and the impact, my experience, my support, I have one professor and one coordinator who work at Lehman. I will go to talk to them on Zoom on Monday. That is where we will put our heads like brainstorm.
Yes.
To write the book, and I would also have let me go back, Panky. Do you let me see. A U D I O. What
Audio.
that spell? Audio.
Audio. You want to do the book audio too?
Audio version. Because
beautiful.
Yes, what I want to I want to help people, because let's just say a lot of people do not heard about what aphasia is. So I will be able to explain what is aphasia. You know?
Yes.
Yeah, because you could have a stroke, but you don't get aphasia.
True.
You know?
Yes.
Yeah. You could have a stroke. Let's say a mild stroke, without getting aphasia. But now, I am back. Not really back out of aphasia, but I am back because I want to help the people, and anyone could have a stroke. Anyone could have aphasia. So this is not like I play cricket. You are not a cricketer, so you will put cricket aside, right? But anyone could have a stroke. Anyone could have an aphasia. So I want to tell the population, it may not be much. I want to tell the whole world, but it is how I will reach the whole world. If I could tell you, but then you will tell other people. You understand?
Yes.
So what is aphasia? So when I will, maybe by this summer, maybe I will have my book out.
Beautiful.
So yes. So anyone have a question for me?
Yes. What are some of the things you've been doing up there with groups and people trying to help them? Because you've been doing a lot in in the background over there in New York? What are some of the stuff you've been doing and stuff like that over the years?
Yes, yes. Um, I would go to the schools and colleges. Maybe a person could invite me to come and talk to them, to the people who have strokes, or
Yes.
and maybe they could say, I will have to talk to the students for the student. They do speech therapy, you know. So I maybe no. That is what I am doing right now. I could get I could go to the hospital. The hospital would call me, and then I will have to go to the hospital to speak, and even I could talk to people in Florida, because I have two appearances, but I stayed in my home and zooming to Florida colleges, you know. So yeah, that is what I am doing right now.
See you. Okay, beautiful, beautiful, Mikey. Yason, anything for Mikey?
I am just very impressed with Mikey and his courage and strength, and to be able to have that sort of willpower. I think that's one of the things that is very much evident in his speech and in his story, as he spoke about coming home and not wanting the wheelchair, and um, you know being adamant that he's going to talk, and he's going to you know do whatever is necessary. I think this story is very, very motivational, and I think people who are going through, who would have experienced this, um, would find a story like this very much encouraging. And I am happy also that he's writing the book. I hope we could, when the book is released, we could probably have you back, and so we could talk about it and let people know where they could get the book when it's out,
Yes, yes,
so that they can support you. That would be one of the ways also that people can support what you're doing. Um, I like the fact that you're making efforts as well to use whatever means necessary. You're zooming in, using Zoom and so on to speak to people about it and so on. That is very commendable. So I would want to encourage you to continue doing what you're doing and continue with that spirit, because I think that is the part that I think anything sticks out for me in your story. That empowerment, like not giving up, like you know, those who are
yes,
listening tonight,
not
I hope they get that. Even if it is not the stroke, even if it is not seizure, whatever ailment you may be going through right now, you need to
yes,
have that motivation and that willpower to say, yes, I'm not going to let that hold me down. I am going to do whatever I can do to push on. And that's what I get from listening to you. And so I
yes, yes.
really, really am impressed with the mission. And I'm hoping those who are listening, I guess you could leave your information with us, so that is one thing I would want you leave your information so that folks who may be listening and want to contribute in any way or support you in any way, that they could reach out to you and do that. And I'm hoping that folks who are listening would do that. If you share the information, then I'll probably put in the number, the email address, or whatever it is, whatever information you share that where people can find you, that would be appreciated.
Yes, and banking.
Yes.
Me and he me and he are friends, but we are like brothers.
Yes.
So Banky, I will give Banky any information that anyone could want, you know.
Okay, so we'll leave it at this point then. That Banky, anything, Banky will be the contact person. So Banky,
Yes, yes,
yes,
because
that's fine. Yes.
Yes. So you can
because
Banky
I will talk to the professor and Leslie Monday. So from that I will know where we will be, right? So yeah. After that, I will talk to Banky and let him know that, you know.
Of course, no problem. That's fine. Beautiful. Mikey, next thing, I know usually Cultural Time, that started this thing, Poet in the Square, and you have been doing this for a couple of years now. How long you been doing Poet of the Square?
It's one time this year. Last year. But I heard about it, but during the culture, maybe I am not home. But last year was the 50th anniversary. So I came home, and my sister, she organized it. You know, understand?
Yes.
Yeah. She not organize it, but she is the head of Poet in the Square. So I told her that I want to go and do a poem, you know, and for 2 days, you know. And I have a friend of mine, like a brother, but he is passed away. I wrote a poem, and I went in the studio and I said it.
And how was it received?
Very, very good, you know.
Okay, you got that.
Yeah.
Very well.
Yeah, but what is his name? Banky, tell me what his name be. Bojo.
Oh, Plum, Buju, Yasun.
Yes.
He passed away. He passed away.
Yes. And one of the poem I did 3 poems in this field. One of them is I do a poem on Bojo.
Beautiful. Yeah, man, Bojo is a favorite. I mean, always smiling. And the thing about Bojo, people don't know. He beautiful singer, you know. He stutter a lot, but
Yes,
but the boy can sing. I remember in the early 90s, he was a part of the band with Tapang and then guys. I remember if you remember that band Yason, where Bojo was the lead
yes,
singer and
yes.
Yeah,
stuff like
man,
that. Then he
I
ended
know
up
Buju.
yeah,
I
man.
know Buju is a singer. A lot of people didn't know that, but I know Buju was a singer.
Yes.
I mean,
Yeah, man.
talented,
Yeah, man.
talented youth,
Beautiful.
man. Yeah, man.
Yes, yes. Definitely.
Yes. Well, while we have a little moment here, we'll go through the comments. Yvonne Jeffers says, "Good morning." I guess Yvonne Jeffers is in England. Damien Jeffrey
Yes.
said, "Blessed." We got Woodland Hill. Then Woodland Hill is watching with you. James Curry says, "Greetings." We've got Gigi says, "Good night, everyone." Gigi Williams Keith say, "Hey, Mikey, long time I haven't seen your face." So you got
Who's
people
that?
here checking in and Gigi Williams Keith.
Gigi?
That's Susie.
Susie,
Susie.
Susie.
She's working Bank
You
and
know her,
Nevis.
Susie.
Oh, okay, okay.
Yes. Yes. But
Yes.
but
So
yeah,
you
Mike, I
got people
mean,
here checking in with you.
yes, your story is one that is needed to be shared, and I'm grateful that you chose to and gave me the opportunity to have it here on Real Entertainment Network and on the Everything Agriculture Show. So what's your, I know you have to stay healthy and stuff like that. So what's how would you how do you eat and exercise, and what would you tell people how to eat and the type of foods and stuff like that, and to keep themselves in a healthy environment? What advice would you give to those who are listening?
Um, what I eat, right? I eat a lot of fruits.
Okay.
I stay off meat a long time, but I
Mm-hmm.
eat a little chicken.
Okay.
I eat fish,
Mm-hmm.
and um, I was eating healthy before I had my stroke,
I got you. So you just
right?
continue.
Mm.
Yes.
And then I just continue
Yes.
eating very, very healthy.
Yes. Nice,
Hmm.
nice. But Mikey, I mean, you've been doing a lot. Others could have just stuck away in their corner, making sure they're getting themselves right and themselves in order and forget about everybody else. But you chose not to do stuff like that. You understand? You chose to inspire other people, n- not being almost the right word to use selfish, but instead you're using your energy, which could have been using it upon yourself to go out there to schools, to universities, and even to different private places, and inspire people. Even here, when you come down Culture time, you could have been just chilling with your family on the beach, just like anybody else. Because many come down who have no kind of sickness and full of energy and choose not to take part in these activities. And you is one of those
Yes, yes,
persons. You take part in these activities, and you should be commended. You understand? And hopefully, the people here in Culture time who realize you're not overlooked and can somehow show some kind of appreciation and recognize you for the work you have been doing, because I think this month and last month, I mean, is this month was talking about, which is mental health month, and this fits in perfectly. I mean, I know thing have a war coming up, which is sometime this week or next week. Development Bank, along the line, partnered the mental health unit sector within St. Kitts and Nevis and stuff like that. So it's a beautiful thing, and it is something you can be an ambassador for Nevis for mental health and all this different stuff, because that will fall within the same line, because it's really stressful and all this different stuff, and the family and all this, and at the same time the children. So it's not just affect you alone, it affect an environment of people around of you,
Everybody.
around you, everybody. So
Yeah.
it means that you need a good support system. So you see where
Yes. Yeah.
a lot where mental health will comes in along these things. So you're just having a normal day on a regular weekend, a long holiday weekend coming up, having fun, playing what you're doing, what you like, and I show people who do football. Many of them do jump up with the ball, and but sometimes they collide. This is something normal, but something
Normal.
happened to come out of it. You see, that's a normal people playing football and jump up and hit each other and stuff like that, and come down and and think nothing of it. You see, so but it just
Yeah.
to show you, but as things work itself out and things happen, we're here. We have an interview with you, the world watching. I mean, you can't make this stuff up, man. You understand? You just can't make this stuff up.
Yes.
It just
Yes.
show you how yes,
Motivation,
because
inspiration.
if you did not leave that wheelchair there, and you chose to sit in the wheelchair, then you might not have been here. You see what I mean? Having this
Yep. Yep.
conversation. 'Cause as you said, you know what the wheelchair mean. You're sitting there,
Yep.
you're already comfortable. But you see, it goes back from the foundation, the type of person you are all the time, the will, and it shows the strength of the mind and the people who
Yep.
surround you and stuff like that. But before you go, I mean, you wrap up, any last words you'll want to give to those who are listening or viewing, and definitely we'll have to do a second round two after when the book is done and stuff like that. And according people see me and give me the information to reach out to you, I'll communicate with you as usual, and we go from there. But final words before your final words, Mikey.
Okay. I would like to tell the people who are listening, do not give up. Be
Yes.
humble. Do not give up, because when you give up, you are a person who is dead in your brains. So do not give up. If you will see everything will be hard, but over time you will go and tread the path, and in the end you will see yourself at the end of the road. So do not give up. Be humble. Yes. One thing, be patient, because if I do not have no patience, I would be here, never want to talk to anyone. So
Yes.
in 15 years, from the first step I took, it's very hard, but in 15 years you will achieve so much. So yeah, in 50 years, because this year is 15 years, I had aphasia.
Yes.
So
wow.
I'm not talking about a stroke, because maybe people will understand what a stroke is, but I had a stroke and I had aphasia, So what is aphasia? So yes. So the people who listen, it could be anything that bothers, like let's say a stroke patient, never give up. A person who have mental health, never give up, because you will give up and maybe you will be not dead, but almost um, dead. So never give up. So just try and try and try again. So with that, I said good night to everybody who listening. Good night to you.
Beautiful. Yeah, son. Any last words and any comments before you we end this part of this show? Can't hear you, son.
Mikey is talking to you.
Yeah, but his mic
My
mic
bad,
had
my bad,
paused.
my bad, my bad,
Yes,
my
go
bad.
on.
Sorry, I had it on pause. Yeah, I was
Yes.
saying, as I listened to Mikey's story, um, I am listening to Mikey, and I am not necessarily familiar with his story, but as I listen to Mikey, I am hearing my brethren Ras Ibu, Ras
Yes,
Ibu Howell, and I
yes, yes,
think
yes. Yes,
that's another interview we'll have probably on the topic, because his story
yes,
is quite. He
yes,
didn't have a stroke, but he suffered an accident, and
yes, yes,
it's a very, very similar scenario, and
yes,
it takes a lot of patience, and it's hard. I could understand for the family, knowing how a person was, and then having to go through that, and then have to deal with it and just know, okay, well, it's because of this, and so it really is a test of patience on both sides, because I'm sure Mikey himself too, sometimes as he's on his journey, he reflects on how he used to be and things that he could have done. And, now he might not necessarily be able to deal with it. So he still have to be patient with himself as well to understand, okay, it's going to take a little journey. And so, yes, I can't do it now, but I'm working to get there, that motivation
yes,
and that inspiration. In Ras Ibu's case, like for me personally, I didn't know Ras Ibu Howell before the accident. We didn't meet, but we used to converse, interviewed him and so on when I was on Van Radio and so on. We did it, talk about his music and so on. I saw him in
Oh,
performances.
Howell?
Yes, yes. Ras Ibu Howell, yes.
Oh,
Senator son, Cabo
yes,
Howell's
yes,
son
yes,
and
yes.
Senator. Yes,
He was in Canada.
yes,
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 Yes.
man, Mike,
Okay.
you
All
remember
right.
good man. Yes. So he
Yeah.
got into an accident. He represented Nevis in a big way in terms of music. So he
Yes.
used to have the Calgary Reggae Festival, and then he would do several gigs at different parts of Canada, because he had his band and so on. And on one of the trips, they were traveling from one show to get to another show, and then the vehicle got into an accident. It flipped and all that, and he got the worst of the accident. So he, was almost vegetable, almost to the point where they thought that he would not have make it. But
Yes. Yes.
to still know, people don't know much of that story. People might see him walking on the road and so on, but he, like you, had to be going through speech therapy and physical therapy and the whole works. And so to sometimes look back at how he was, like recently, because I speak to him regularly. We communicate almost every day, right now. And he sent me some music the other day, like, some of his videos when he was performing in California, sorry, in Canada. Um, and
Mhm.
to see Ibo then and to see Ibo now, those who don't know that side, it is really interesting. So that's another reason why I'm saying, Banky, we need to have that
Yeah,
interview
man,
with
that
him and
easy
share
thing,
that
man.
and get
Yes,
that organized.
definitely.
But
That
so and
easy.
the patience too, because you have to take time to listen to them because sometimes the speech is not that clear and so on, and so it's just that understanding, and so I'm really happy that you took the time and you are really not giving up, and not even just not
Yeah.
giving up on yourself. What is more inspiring is that you want to help other people, and not just want to,
Yes,
but
Yeah.
are actually making efforts to do
you're
so.
doing it.
So I really want to
Yes.
commend you. I really want to encourage all who would have gotten the opportunity to listen to this interview this evening in whatever way you can support. When that book comes out, I'm hoping that everybody in Nevis would at least, whatever it is, just buy it. Even if you don't want to read it, buy it and give it to your child or something. Let somebody else read it if you
Yes.
don't want to read it. But supporting that way, just do it for support.
Well, it's
And right now,
something
Yeah.
people,
that people will need to share and to read up because
I
it could
know,
happen.
but I'm
These
just
things can happen to any one of us. You understand? So it's
exactly,
to have the
Yeah.
but I was
information.
just saying, the point I was just
Yes.
making, I was just trying to say, just
Yeah.
support.
Yeah.
Do it just to support. That's the point
Yes.
I was really making. But
Of course,
so
I got
give
you.
thanks, my
Yes,
brother.
definitely.
And I want to continue to encourage you to continue to be you. And you don't give up either. So, like how you're encouraging
Yeah.
everybody not to give up, I am encouraging you too not to give up either. So, enough is said.
Yes.
Yeah. And
Any
where
last
where
comments,
where
Jackson?
are you from?
Nevis, I'm from Nevis, Wiggly is my father. I was my father, sorry, because he
Hmm?
passed away. Wiggly. Felt is
Oh,
my uncle. Felt Daniel. Wiggly Daniel. Felt Daniel is my uncle.
felt who um for
Have a
felt
supermarket.
who have a shop
Yes, have a supermarket in downtown Charleston. Yes.
in town. Okay. Okay. Okay.
Yes.
Yes.
So
Okay.
you know me?
I I'm not so sure. I've seen the face, but I'm not sure if I know you like that. Um,
Okay.
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 But Mikey, I mean, really appreciate. I want to say thanks to you again, and assure our listening audience, many are glad to see your face. I guess I haven't seen you in a while. You understand, and definitely soaking in the information and your story that you're putting out there, and it's very touching because we live in a society where we have to deal with a lot of. I mean, my grandmother and many of our sisters that I know, my aunt and my great aunt and them, they do, and my uncles. A few of them had Alzheimer's and different stuff. So I too
Yes. Yes.
understand and see what goes on and all the difference on other family members going through these things and strokes and other illnesses and different vibes. So you are a hero, an unsung hero, not realizing what the work you're doing and noble with it and keep. Well, I ain't tell you stay strong because just being there, your presence show that you're a strong person and you will be there for a long time because your will is to encourage and help others, and that's a beautiful thing. So definitely we'll keep in touch as usual, my brethren, and we're
well,
going to
Frankie,
continue. Yes.
Frankie, before he leaves, he gotta hear these two comments because Gigi says
Mm-hmm.
I worked with Mikey in Bank of Nevis. He was my supervisor at one point. Um,
Who?
but Gigi, Susie says you
Susie. So she worked with you at Bank of Nevis at one time. You're her
you was our
supervisor.
supervisor,
Okay.
and
Yes.
Okay.
yeah, and then we have Carlisle Paris saying yes, Mikey. Rastafari healing and praise and strength to the eye. Rasta Juma checking in. His Imperial Majesty. So,
Yeah.
give thanks on the journey, my brethren. Continue pushing on. I look forward to the book, and I'm really hoping that you can continue to inspire many more on the journey.
Yeah. Thank you
All right, Mikey.
very much. You know.
All right, enough respect, Mikey. We'll catch up. All right, you just log out and
All right.
then we reason
Oh,
over the weekend.
he
Enough
said
respect.
You should tell him Giselle.
Giselle, you
Giselle.
know how it's Giselle.
Yeah.
Giselle
Giselle
is our
Speed.
Susie.
Giselle
Yeah,
Skeet.
Giselle Speed. Yeah.
Skeet.
Yes.
Giselle Skeet
Yes.
from Castle.
Yes,
All
yes,
right,
Castle,
man.
yes.
Yeah, man. Your memory is working
Yes.
very right.
Yeah, man. Yeah,
Yeah.
right on point. Right on point,
So
Mikey. Right on point.
wait, what I let us say, I do not lose my voice, mine, everything that, yeah, everything that happened from I was a little boy to now, I have it in
Remember,
my mind.
that is good.
Okay.
Mhm.
Brilliant.
Okay.
Brilliant. Brilliant.
Yeah,
I love that.
Right.
Brilliant. Brilliant.
even though I could not speak, everything
Yes, was there.
um have it, yes.
Okay. I got
Yeah.
you. I
She
got
said,
you.
she said, he remember
Beautiful,
me,
Mikey.
man. She said, he remember me,
Yeah,
man.
man. But I send you the link also so you can post the link on your Facebook and other stuff and share it so you can always go back and watch the show and people can always go and share the show and stuff like that. I'm sure you can take clips out of it
Yeah.
and put it on your status
So
and do all kind of stuff.
what happened now that I am gone? You would have
I would stay on the show and
an
have an next somebody to
show.
interview. You have a next somebody to interview after you leave, and I'll interview someone else and with different topics, talk about some other stuff, agriculture, food fee, and food security, and cannabis and different stuff with someone else from St. Kitts.
Okay. So
Yes.
can I stay on?
If you want to, that's up to you. That is up to you. That's not a problem. That's fine. Sure.
Okay.
If you want to stay on the show, that's fine. That's not a problem. Sure, that's fine.
Okay.
So yes,
All right.
If I were there still, we play the intro and then we bring in us Aya and continue the second part of the show.
Okay.
Aya. All right, let me organize.
Okay, yeah. So yeah, we continue on this edition of Everything Agriculture. This is a show we host usually on a Friday night, every Friday from 8 p.m. until 10 p.m. Usually it's everything and everything agriculture. On the last, well, Fridays now, but it usually used to be on a Tuesday. Last Tuesday in the month, we would specifically deal with the topic of cannabis, and cannabis globally, cannabis as it relates to St. Kitts and Nevis, and generally, other than that, we look at several topics and issues and anything that is in relation to agriculture. So for the past 2 days, the biggest thing would have been happening in the Federation of St. Kitts and Nevis would have been the Agriculture Expo and Nevis, which is generally one of the biggest events you could say outside of maybe Culturama. It is one of the biggest events on the island of Nevis, which is garnering the attention and attracting people from even outside of St. Kitts and Nevis, because we have people from Stacia who usually come over. I think Saber came last year, and so, we're having people who look forward to this event. Anguilla, I think they had visitors from Anguilla sometime in the past as well. And, the event gets bigger and bigger every year. And we really appreciate the fact that, this year, the patron, I think a very fitting patron, uh, Danny Atherton, most people know him as Danny Atherton, a very, very fitting patron. Danny would have contributed to the Ministry of Agriculture for several years upon years in the marketing sector. I think if it's one thing that I could say, let me not say I, but Nivisions could say stand out in his contribution there was his intervention with Four Seasons and being able to ensure that a lot of the stuff that the farmers grew, he made sure that he developed that relationship with Four Seasons, that they were able to take it and they were able to have, whatever um, standard arrangements and pricing arrangements and so on, so that the local farmers were not left out. And so Danny Atherton, his contribution in agriculture, his contribution to economics, because even on the other side, apart from being in agriculture, Danny is known on the economic side. He spent a lot of years working for ECB, Eastern Caribbean Central Bank. That's where they make our money. And, generally, um, that is a place that is known for top quality person. And you definitely have to have your, your skills and everything intact to be working in such an institution for such a long time. And also to, I think he has retired now and would have done so with credibility and still being called upon by the institution and the government to host number of workshops and training and seminars. He has also um, developed his own podcast as well, where he gives back to the community in terms of talking about economics and strategies for small businesses, which is what he's into as well. So Danny, like I said, like I'm saying, he is more than fitting for the position as a patron this year. And so I want to, as well as all the other people at Nevis, say congratulations to Daniel Atherton. Daniel Atherton, personal friend of mine, personal brethren, like a mentor to me as well. And so I want to take this opportunity and this platform to give my kudos to him as well. And to all of the folks who would have put together this activity this year, I guess maybe Rastaya, as he's in now, maybe he would have gotten a chance to experience some of the Agri Expo. I'll be able to share some of the experience with me, but they would have had 2 days and they're winding down now and maybe ending now. No, I think they have activities, in entertainment that's going to take them up until about 12 o'clock. But anything to empower agriculture and Nevis, we support. So to all of the organizers, those who would have had
we're getting a feedback there.
successful,
We're getting a feedback in the line. I'm not sure if somebody phone on or whatever, the next device, but there's a little feedback coming back there. I'm not sure. I'm not sure if you could hear it, no? There's a feedback coming through the line. But go ahead, your son.
Maybe. Anyway, I hear it.
Go ahead. You hear it?
Yeah, I could hear it.
Okay, go ahead.
Yes, so I just want to say, yeah, okay. So I just want to say thank you to all of those who would have organized the activities, and hope they had a successful 2 days of activities. Hope everybody got all of their stuff sold, and all the stalls are empty, and will continue to work not just for the AgriFest now, but to continue to see to reduce our import bill down to at least 75%. We don't want to wait until 2030. We want to be able to achieve that. You still work like you're working for 20 or 25. You need to bring down that food import bill in a significant way and put us in a position where we could feed ourselves. So with that, I say welcome, Rastaya, and greetings, and it's a pleasure having you. Usually, as we would say, not as a guest, but also as a co-host here and everything agriculture. So welcome.
Thankful and greetings to the family. Welcome to Everything Agriculture. Give thanks for your word sound, dear brother Aliasan. And my brethren, give thanks for having the eye here in the presence of this format that is very informative to the people of Nevis and St. Kitts and the wider Caribbean shores, and even internationally, because we know that we're not speaking on the genesis of just our territorial base, but our people, as African people, have to know how to have a sustainable development going within agriculture and food safety.
Yes, and Aya, welcome. Greatly appreciate you as usual. Call upon any time to reach out to general public and you come to give any information. Yes, it's the end of the month, the 27th and the 28th, which means one of the biggest events in St. Kitts and Nevis, the agriculture, now term Agri Expo from the Agriculture Fair, 27th anniversary. Yes, and yesterday after the farm, I take myself up there in the evening, minutes to 7, because I mean, can't leave the farm, I have different stuff to do and stuff like that. Because I wasn't sure to get a chance this evening because of this show and you go kind of tight. But as I reach, yes, and it's like I get bombarded. It's like everybody, boy, you're looking for you all day. I said, looking for me? I said, all right. I said, what? I mean, it's amazing, yeah, son. Last year, I mean, I had the cannabis set up with a 40 by 40 tent and stuff like that. Everything educational display, different trees labeled. People could get the person trees. Each day I served over 150 cups of tea. People meeting me say, that's the man I just come for the tea, you know. So people costing, making nice, but you know, because you see, what one person told me is that the authorities also need to understand because of the boat that I had there. More people came out to the event. People even came up over and sink it. People called me. Many people called me and said, I understand if you have a tent in the park and I said, okay, now I'll catch the boat and come over then. So people came over and the person telling me people still supported other vendors. So they have to realize by that tent being there people who didn't even thought about coming to the event turn up. So they had a lot of people turned up because of that. So it was a very big disappointment for those people who came over, even from St. Martin and the station, came over from St. Kitts, from St. Kitts, even in the department called me and said, boy, where's your boat? From I reach, even my daughter told me, Dad, everybody asking me, where your father boat? I said, really? He said, that's how they come up the far to see a boat. He said, it's so, we take things for granted until the public lash out about it. You understand? So it shows that the general public was appreciative of what I did when it comes to the educational level, when it comes to the cannabis, because the government is moving towards it. You have in June the music festival coming up, and you know they will have a cannabis section where people can be there selling it. And then in 2023, December, they had the launch at the Marriott Hotel where I took part. I was asked to take part by then CEO Dr. Garfield Alexander for 2 days, where they had a big symposium of cannabis, where people flying from all over the world. You understand? The Prime Minister, the whole cabinet was there. In the Marriott Hotel, I come into the lobby with cannabis trees through the lobby, going to straight through past like nothing. And people coming out, moving back and forth with the buying the cannabis trees, going to the Marriott with no issues. So why people are still worrying about a cannabis plant, selling a cannabis plant, and the authorities, oh, you have to have a license, you have to have this. Agriculture, the minister and the director and the PS is those are who in charge of talking about cannabis, and you never hear them speak about cannabis. So now, you see, Isaac told the director, I don't, and a police officer, I am not the face of cannabis, you know. I don't want about to get me like banky in the castle, banky in the castle, banky far. No, the banky thing. So I am not the face of cannabis. You understand? And I make sure clear up these things, like to clear up certain things clear. You see, because and agriculture open the keep it. You're supposed to have an area where it's 10, 15, 20, 30 different people, different people having cannabis setups and all this different stuff. That's what I want to see. You see what I mean? You got to free up the herb. And if we're going to be going towards these paths, where today's the last day and have people so upset. A lot of people are so upset about this. And I know this would have been the outcome. You see what I mean? Because remember, you know, the Constitution already protect every citizen. What is the problem is the Job Act. And up to today, they're still playing out this thing where people are still being locked up Because what I've realized, it seems like no more killing going on, no more gun crime. So the police are not going to know what to do. So the only thing they're looking to do is harass people with cannabis. You see what I mean? And that is not good. So we have one here who is a part of the authority. He's on the board. Yes, Aya. So we have to bring them in accordingly when people have been harassed. And Aya himself, he went and took part of in the agriculture field. So he will want to know, well, what was the difference by not having the cannabis boat there, and how was the energy and stuff like that. So Aya, welcome.
Yes, I give thanks again, Brother Banky, and to the listening audience, I'd like to say, I find it very disturbing that I thought I would see a booth with some kind of aspect of herb being displayed, not by just the plant itself, whereas that mean that it can break down into other particles that can be a nutritional balance that is in turn for us as a people. Let me look at we're saying that we have things that we like to do in like restructuring the plastic model.
Mhm.
And this is something very vital that it should be used. I even outlined it in the last parliament sitting of the federal administration that if you're going to pass a bill that is going to ban the single-use plastic back then, hemp is a biodegradable and it can create by getting it made of plastic that can break down and not being disturbed into the soil. These are factors that we need to apply ourselves now into. We can't plant hemp in sinks and areas, but we can get products that are viable from the hemp itself and start making display in these kind of capacity. So we people can get assurance where the herb itself is where it can be spread out than what the narrative that are spending on of saying, oh, they just want it for smoking alone. But in the same aspect of it, the value of the things that we are seeing that is changing our climate, we got to start utilizing things that can really affect those things that change in the climate. And if we're not serious about ensuring our people, not just in Sinkers, but in the shores of Nevis too, that as you say, Banky, people ask you, wow, how come you don't got your 10 and your daughter saying that people are really looking out for you to be there at the presence of that festival for the agro fair, agro export. And when I look at what I see today, it was well, it should have been improved in that part. I went in some areas of plants and I said, where the herb? I say, well, we ain't got the herb. I say, well, I got near mark and herb, so I thought I herb me a senior. But it's just plants of different type of foods and other things you all are promoting, which is not wrong for agriculture. But we have, when we say vegetable herb is a vegetable, you know. Because this is what the people them the outline and the charges against our people. And I would like to echo the same outline what Brother Banky said. It's time now we people have to stop being harassed for the use of herb and stop talking about trafficking, because you know not trafficking. If you're going into an industry, how you could label trafficking and herb all this day of the 20th century ISA, we are intelligent people who have the 90-something% literacy rate, and you still talk about trafficking. And then you're going to tell us in this same aspect that you want to use those charges against all people, but generally in the broader compound of this trade industry, how will you watch these people bringing in from an investor or even a local aspect? So we gotta be real and not with just a legislation. The point is that the act what is promoting against herb is the drug act. And just recently we have seen information sharing from the narcotic drug agency about what they are doing against our people within these territories. That's why you hear our bank say they ain't got no gun, no shooting out right now. So what do you think they're gonna do? They come after our people who use herb. Charge 3 people basically just in last all up in this month of March and possession of herb. And then prior of the month before of March, we see people being charged still. So how could you relate charges against people and you're going into something that is looking to create economical diversity to the economy? Yes, sir.
So, Because this is where now well, okay. So I'm gonna noise you up first, and then I'm gonna give you a little bit of the fire, because you end up on the board, right? I'm gonna give you the nice part. The nice part is, right? The nice part is that I am going to commend you. I'm going to commend you in this respect, right? That it is one thing, and I've said it on, I think, the past two shows that we had. We had Sankofa on, I think, the week before. And I think in last week edition, we also touched on the topic cannabis as well. Um, it is one thing from, I could recall from when CARICOM visited St. Kitts and was rounding up on their commission when they were trying to find out if the people in the region would support the decriminalization or legalization of cannabis. One of the things that you would have pushed for, I could recall it now, Rastaya was pushing for a moratorium. Rastaya was saying, and which is what I is suggesting is necessary even up until this point. Because if you're
That's what
telling
Gaston
me,
tell and leave the Gaston with the herb alone.
if you're telling me that you have decriminalized cannabis, and part of the problem is not my fault, but your fault because you have not gotten your regulations together, then why should I be
True.
punished in the interim? So that is why I'm saying the moratorium, which Aya was asking for, as Aya was asking for, is still necessary. Because in the interim, that you ain't have your licenses and all your regulations and so on together, then you shouldn't be harassing people for cannabis. So I mean, I'm seeing, as what I is saying, I see in recent articles, a couple of people got caught for, there's an intent to to sell
Supply.
and so on. Um, I mean, at this point, something could have been said to those who are what you call the upholders of the law, to say, hey, we are going through this right now and it is unreasonable, because those who uphold the law do so within reasonableness. One of the things that you hear the police them say, they have the option of using their reasoning, whether just caution you, give you a ticket, arrest you, depending on what the case is. So in this case, use your reasoning and say, okay, well, we have decriminalized it. It is an industry that we are seeking to build, and it just doesn't make sense for us to seek to be punishing the people at this point like that until we get ourselves organized. And that is only one of the issues. So now the other one now, Aya, as you talk about Banky and Banky's contribution last year to the event that we are seeing the conclusion of today, the Agri Expo. Banky's contribution from our reports was an effort to educate. It was no smoking room. It was a room where you come in, you see the different plants, you see, you see some write up about it and so on. You see that different stages. You see how it could be extracted. You see different things that could be done with it. You got literature and so on, which is something that is absolutely necessary at this point. So if you're telling me that you have decriminalized this thing, and it is absolutely necessary for a re-education to take place, but you are now fighting an opportunity for people to do just what is necessary, then how does that make sense? And so this is part of what I'm not understanding with what is going on at this point, and this is why we have been crying for Aya and the others on the team to come out and talk to the people and sensitize the people on some of these issues. Because we shouldn't be out here guessing and then have the people have to be punished for things that should be clarified by a board that is whether being paid or at least organized by the government, right? Then we have this other issue where and Nevis, seemingly based on the response I got from those who are in authority here for the importation of seeds, they have informed me that it is still against their regulations to import cannabis seeds in Nevis. Now, these things seemingly just don't make sense to me. I can't understand you telling me that cannabis is now an agricultural crop. It is decriminalized. Treat it like how you treat tobacco and alcohol. But I am expected to get involved in an industry, but I can't get the seeds to start my industry. How does that really make sense to me? So these are some of the things that I was hopeful that those who are in that position and the board and so on to help to sensitize the public. Because in talking to Banky, seemingly maybe there's another procedure and syndicate. Now, if we are a federation and syndicate, there is a way for you to import seeds, but it is not communicated on Nevis or it is not adhered to on Nevis, then I don't understand. And then seemingly, just as Banky is pointing out, um, certain events in relation to cannabis and the publicity in relation to cannabis and syndicate is totally different to what's happening in Nevis. Because even an event like what Banky is talking about got shut down, and you would have had events on syndicates that is even more open and is embraced. So we need that level of clarity where the cannabis issue is concerned. And I don't, if at this point I'm here, the good news is we're hearing that a lot of these things might just be over to some extent because I saw a publication saying that the office would have been open on the 22nd of April. It could have been the day after
21st,
420. No, sorry, 21st. 21st. It was different. 21st. And then now it has been changed now to the 25th. So it is now
Oh,
going to
it
be
did.
open on the 25th. Yes, there's a
Oh,
change. There's
it did.
a change.
Okay. Okay, cool.
Yes. So the good news is that that means the office will be open up and more than likely um, it will be ready for people to go and get their licensing and all of these things and so on. Or we
So you
don't
get a license,
know
can
yet.
import no seeds? So you get a license and there's nothing to import seeds yet? I mean,
Well,
understand
you
that.
see,
Okay.
no,
Let,
that's what these are things
let me check something there, Brother Yassan and Brother Banky and to the audience. There's some other way that I support what you call in where you refer as the body need to imply in getting there and giving the general public some more clarity on what the aspect of how to get these things. Now, the agriculture, the Ministry of Agriculture have the full aspect to support ones with seed because it's on the clarity of how they pursue it in the planting production. Now, it's something I find that is very hideous that this view is not supported strongly from the Ministry of Agriculture. They're still laying the customs on them before they call them and tell them, watch here. It's time now we look at the avenue what we're doing and affirmative to dismantling people like with him coming in to apply themselves into achieve the herb itself. You can't just tell me you're gonna apprehend somebody from using seed coming in to go up and do some production. And we are going into an industry. For let me look at the greenhouse them. So if I go overseas and I looking for a seedling that could apply within the greenhouses. So you're going to tell me you're going to restrict me from getting the seed in, or how I going to get the work done within what the greenhouse apply for, in utilizing, because as you
you see,
see, right now the breed of the seed. Yes,
Aya, the problem is right that this is why I say you're gonna get somebody fired. You end up you on the board, right? Now the board technically represents the government. So in relation to cannabis, right? The board is who the government up So it's like instead the ministers them deal with it, they say now we have a board, and this board deals with this issue. So if you have a problem, deal with the board. So then, which means that these things that you are suggesting, technically now the government or the leaders, or whoever the politicians are going to say, well, is the board responsibility now to communicate this to these different bodies, which is right. My thing is somebody, which is what you're saying, also Aya, somebody need to speak to these authorities. So it's like there is a lapse in communication. This is why I'm saying they need a PRO for the public, and then it seemingly need PRO to speak to those different agencies, whether it's the customs, whether it's the police, whoever, because then people are still being harassed. There's also the people who are claiming that police still coming and pulling up certain trees in the yard and so on, right? So, which means that somewhere along the line, the rules and regulations are not clear. And this is what we would have been asking. Now, even if they are not clear, sorry, even if they are clear, they are still seemingly not understood by those who are supposed to enforce, and those who have certain freedoms are not clear on how they could go about dealing with their rights at this point.
Just
So this is why we are saying the education point is necessary. The education is needed, and those who are within the board and within that authority need to make it their business to come to the public, to sensitize the public so that we don't have these ambiguities. We don't have to be wondering and questioning and if we could do that. And just like how we need to know, then the police also need to know, the customs need to know, so that we don't have these issues.
What I think need to happen also, Yasan, because remember, is the writers of the Constitution, put these things in place where every citizen have the right to have the herb as the sacrament for the privacy and all these things. Is them have the police things there, and they still use it and have the drug act and respect other people outside rules above their own constitution. So it's they're willing to break their own law against their own people to please other outside territories. One of what our next issue is that saying, well, a lot of young guys smoking weed everywhere, and everywhere they go, they're spliffing them out and here and there. But I guess, yes, that probably you're seeing more people with spliffing them out and different stuff. But going to school in the 90s, in my time and your time, man, as people smoke herb long time. I don't think these guys nowadays that smoke more herb than man used to smoke more herb in the 90s and our part and beyond. You see what I mean? This is nothing new with people in school that smoke or use herb, And these and I don't think anything will change. What I think need to change in our society is the age, because you see, between 23 and 25, the frontal part of the brain, your cerebral cortex, that ain't fully developed as yet, So a lot of poor decision, and that are the part that where people we tend to make decision, which you understand, which is more accurate and stuff like that. So between the time frame there, between now and 2025, you realize most people tend to get in problem and be more, when I say make poor decision within that time. I'm not saying everyone will do stuff like that. You understand? But them bright people know these things too. You see, those who I choose to elect and want to say, oh, they're bright, and they like it back how bright they be and how much letters behind the name and in front of the name. It's Gabriel, and them got all these age of 16 and see them adult. You understand? Let me finish up and then you come in. You understand? And then put these things in place. So what may say, because you can have sex at 16, you consent, you can do all these things, come home to me, big belly, and me have to take care of you. And I can something while you go to school, look after and child because you now work. So me have to go turn. You understand what I'm show you? And all these things. But yet you can't vote, yet you can't get a license, yet all these different stuff. So you know, so we living in a perverted system with a bunch of perverted male putting some dumb laws in place to benefit them. Because this doesn't make no sense, Virgin. So therefore, if the part of the brain is not developed to make decision, they'll raise the age an adult to 23 then. Skip 18 and get up to 23. And then Because if you're in a school and you're gonna have sex, will you go smoke too? Well, that's the whole point, you know. Well, you're gonna because you're 16, you can consent to smoke. You can't consent to smoke. You're vexed for that too. You could drink rum because you say you're 16. You could consent to these things. If you could have sex, you could drink rum and smoke herb, isn't it? And smoke cigarette, pills can't do nothing. So how do you vex for these things when done when these things happening?
They make an indication to these.
These things don't make no sense. These things don't make no sense. You see? So we contradicted ourselves, my virgin. You understand? But the next thing I want to say at the agriculture fair, and I've been telling the director so for the last 2 years, the event have reached to a point, yes, son, where he ever go in the park. And they're going to have to keep that from next year. I think the fitting place is taken down by the Malcolm Gishard Park. You know what I'm saying?
Space.
You have more space, plus a scene. When I go to event, I tend to just look at how the layout is, walk around, watch and get feedback from different people who feel like, and I'll have to talk to the director. They shift back 1 or 2 changes how it was originally, because certain things you're gonna conflict with those who come there to make money, and stuff that the department have different places, and you understand, and those who come with government active agencies just to display information, and those who come to sell. You got to make sure those who selling is in this strategic position, areas where the traffic are flow. You got to ask if they think how the traffic flow. You see what I mean? But those are things I always discuss. But apart from that, you got to give kudos when you go there and you see M&T setup. Is always fascinating to see when she will just dig out, like, I guess, use a backhoe and dig out some banana tree, load down with some big bunch of banana or planting and just strap them up to the tent. Yeah, man, wicked. So sugar cane, tall, 10 feet. Yeah, man, I kind of vibes there. You just know what something's gonna come with when you got Sally and Elmina them doing that the simple thing, the style flip up thing, but just know with it and stuff like that. You know what I mean? Yeah, and then you go across, you'll see man like a Mackie Trust had started with a small area, then Mackie got a whole big section by itself. Like you're going to Value Mart, one of them big supermarket, again go shop, or so Mackie set up, you know, with the different styles and food layout and things set up. So you shop with your basket and that kind of vibes. It's not like nobody pass nothing to you. You have to go through. You take up through the island, check up on the kind of vibes, and then you have a cactus area and the little ornamentals and stuff, and then you have a jelly and yeah, man, wicked. You got to big up A1. I remember when you start off with little this, but you expanded vast, almost a 30 by 40 area. It just to show you how, and then you have different people keep adding. Ain't no space in the park. The only place again is on the football and the cricket pitch. You understand? No space in the park. You see what I mean? So if you're expanding, and people are gonna always expand. Because I remember the first time when my Uncle Mansour took me, when the first ever agriculture fair, it was up at Prospect. We had to walk down by the vet areas to the animals, and then you know what I mean, and stuff like that. You walk down, come down to the back, and kind of vibes. But it blew my mind away. You understand what I mean? But when you reflect and realize that this stuff was instilling in you and grooming you, so at least by the time you don't set these things, everything just fall in place and everything work out fine. But definitely, I mean, extension had some different technology where they had drones and stuff like that to oversee, to do different mapping, do drone that can spray a big area. So you got to big up England. Yes, I'm not sure if a call coming in here. Okay, the call went, I'm not sure. Yes. I also big up the extension areas. I mean, they had some different setup when it come to marigold mixing with different vegetables, tomatoes, and bell peppers to keep out the pest and stuff like that. So they pay attention to stuff like that. Also, quarantine, big up Quincy Bat, and also the veterinary area, nice displays and stuff like that with the different animals and stuff like that, and the extension area with Kelso and his crew, where they have the animal extension area also. Real nice. I mean, and must commend them with the trust that they have with and relationship with the farmers, them who lend them the animals. You got to really appreciate that when farmers would trust you to lend them the animals, so that you have a good working relationship with them and stuff like that. And also the area where they have the the entrance. I took at the entrance. I went into the director. The last year in the entrance area, they had cannabis plants with greeting you as you come in. A few cannabis plants coming in, and that wasn't there and stuff like that. But the setup was good, but it wasn't like wow, like last year. Last year had a much wow effect. So I don't know how you downgrade from last year with all this wow effect and come. This makes sense to me, you know. You understand? So we can agree for a lot of things and stuff like that. And as I said, a few changes were made and stuff like that. But apart from that, I mean, it's something I always love to go and know. And I'm not taking part this year, but by being there, I mean, and how everything's set up, definitely they'll have to move to the Malcolm Bishop Park next year. And listen to the minister Wednesday and the show along with the director and the chief extension officer and stuff like that, talking about food security and different stuff. It's just different mix. I mean, the public would listen and realize, well, the evidence is there because Indian Castle is going down the drain. First quarter is finished, and nothing phase two ain't started as yet. And what is being pushed now is culture. So if culture push now, you know, phase two now going start again. Everything is focused on culture and stuff like that. Because I remember when at the same time when I used to take part in the agriculture opening, I'm the one who used to set up all the tents and all the booths and all the different stuff. And by the time the event finished tonight, Saturday morning, you had an event in the villa, everything done take back down one time and back up agriculture. Now you'll have stuff in the park for days and all the different stuff like that. So it just shows the difference when how things flow. I used to take me and my crew step down everything one time. Event done, we come back out 1 o'clock and take down everything and move it out. Clean up everything one time. That was then when I used to deal with stuff like that. But yes, on anything but definitely the cannabis part of it, is strictly legalization. Legalize it as Tash say. You understand? We kind of because he got asked people don't ready to come in from all over the place to go herb, you know. And they want we land too, because you can't go herb in the air. So they mean they need our natural resource the same way. And I for one I always feel nobody need to come here to go on a herb. Because we have enough talent around here, enough scientists to come go to herb and be niche about it. We don't need to bring in nobody. We don't need no fancy talking. In this time, it's supposed to come fool you, and you need training, you need this, you need that. What you mean? So of the Southern University, of the same machinery we have, I have some of the machinery, guys. It's nothing extraordinary. What happened is that a lot of stuff, even especially those freeze dry machine, where they put stuff in place, where they invent a lot of stuff, where they make it complicated, very expensive. So all you do is gonna kill any pathogens and bacteria. Lot of garbage. You understand? A garbage, as we call it direct, and we kind of vibe. Garbage. Crap. You understand? This thing don't make no sense. We survive up to this day for billions of years without all these nonsense. But I've realized once people want to control things, they facilitate all kind of stuff, the growing medium, the patent this, the seeds, the this, the that. You're just everything I import. We got to start to be producers.
You see, Banky, that is
Yes.
part of what we have to really begin to understand. And I don't think a lot of us are really paying attention. And maybe too, that is why the police are still seeking to be rampant in the way they are with cannabis, because the approach that is being pushed is an approach that is going to be highly regulated, highly regulated. The medicinal cannabis industry is a highly regulated industry. So a lot of these things that you are claiming is nonsense, and you know what I mean, a lot of gibbage and whatever it is, in
Of
order
course.
to be a part of that, industry, you would have to adhere to certain regulations, and some of these same things that are considered as gibbage, right? So, okay, so for example, the smoking side of it, as we were talking about earlier, the government would have already addressed that. One of the good things that they would have done in addressing that is that, and this was based on a lot of pushback and argument from the masses, that seemingly that they were being biased towards cannabis, and they had to go back to the board, to the table, then come to a point now where they are going to have designated smoking areas or smoking zones, and these designated smoking zones are supposed to be where you smoke everything, not just cannabis. When they came out with the regulation, they were speaking only to cannabis. That was a big pushback, and then they went back to the table, and then they had to say, no, well, it's anything. So in that regard, there's going to be an enforcement where that is concerned. So in time to come, what you're talking about there, where people walking up and down smoking and so on, it is already regulated. They would have already passed whatever regulations in the house, and then that is going to be enforced in time to come. When they begin issuing the licensing, this is why, again, and this is why I'm saying maybe the police is beginning to sensitize y'all also, that they are going to be on the hunt again for those who are not licensed and are not
Yes, sir. We got a call coming in
regulated.
there.
Yeah, man.
Caller, good evening. Hello.
Yeah, hello?
Yes, good evening.
Yeah, good evening, man. I'm on?
Yes, you're live. Yes,
Yeah,
go.
man.
Yeah.
Yeah, good evening to the guy. Yeah, good evening to the idea, man.
Greetings.
Yeah, man. This is a real live discussion tonight, man. I just want to at least let you hear my voice, man, for the support, you know what I'm saying? But looking back at Nevis and Sinkis, man, looking in from outside, you know, our leaders down, they are not doing right by the people. You know, they got the people confused, man. The drug act that was mentioned, you know, I don't know too much about it, but it seems like the drug act, as opposed to you guys not sure right by the Constitution, is in conflict with each other. That's what I'm extracting from the conversation. You know, you can correct me as we go along. But with that said, like you said earlier, you know, persons want to cultivate, and they're confused, man. You know, I heard that they had like few arrests recently there. But to me, it's just all about the control, man. And I like your suggestion, Banky, about, you know, there's enough experienced guys on the ground there who could run this cultivation of the herb and develop that industry. My question is, why can't we do something different than everywhere else, man?
That's it. Because
And why can't our small island state of St. Kitts and Nevis do something different and be a shining star in that area? This herb cultivation and this industry is another such thing that they can move on and be different than everywhere else. You know, those politicians, they're just trying to solicit to bring in the big companies, bring in the big, that we expect to say, bring in the big dogs. But why can't we develop an industry locally? Our people are known to be farmers. The herb being a plant, a natural plant, and it's part of the agriculture department. They really need to be looking at developing that herb locally. All the lands you mentioned, you can't grow herb in the air, right? And that's going to push me to the rumors or the development on the ground where there's a particular realtor company in Nevis that's trying to get their hands on all those lands on the south side of Nevis. If Nevis people sits there and let that happen, bro, it's all over for Nevis, man. You all need to go in the street and protest against that. Protest against that now and stop them man from doing that, because guess what? You know what these men gonna try to do to you, bro? I heard to the grapevines that they're gonna try to invoke the eminent domain situation and possibly take those lands from the people. Banky, bro, you trying to run for politics? You're gonna need to lead something in the street in terms of a mobilization of the people. This area and this issue about those lands on the south side of the Nevis is one issue that you can jump on and mobilize the people and get the people in the street to protest about that, and to make the owners of that, the landowners of that area, make them be aware of what they're facing.
Yeah, the people of Hanley's Road already know there ain't no bad land. And the people of Sinkits and Nevis know there ain't no bad land in Sinkits or Nevis, you know. Hanley's Road, nothing, from but that's the whole point. That's one of the reasons why I did the project at Hanley's Road, to prove to all those with all those alphabet letters behind the name, who figure nothing, who love to say nothing can go in. We call everybody seeking to own Nevis land because it's smart else. That's why I developed those land, and that's why you see the minister say going to do phase 2, because I don't set the presidents. Nobody could come behind and say nothing can go in these places. So why everybody want all them same old land that no good now? Why all them land that was so now all those same land go all the way back over to Lighthouse and back to from by the Deepwater Port, go right over to the windmill. All those land are good land. People don't care me all down by the windmill and ask what you think about this land. So I mean, land good, land to plant food. You see? So everybody want to say a lot of them know.
Hearing my voice tonight,
yes.
I'm going to put it up there, live and direct, Banky. If his people need to stand up, they need to stand up. They need to stand up against those elitist leaders we have, man. They got to stand up. We're acting like we don't care about our own small island, but at the end of the day, man, Sinkis and Nevis is going to end up like South Africa on apartheid.
These things are easy, you know, Brethren. These things are easily, you know.
Yeah.
You put people, regular people, to run your country and make the citizens be a part of the government, they have a say. That's all it is. It'll be all inclusive, and the people have a say when it comes to decision making. These are just simple common sense. You know, you don't have to overthink for these things and stop looking at because somebody have on a tie or a suit and all this nonsense stuff don't work. But finish up what you're saying and then we can continue the conversation. Finish up what you're saying.
Real quick, let me segue off a little bit for a minute, right? We was talking about the environment, right? And I don't know how you guys feel about that solar plant that was supposed to come in Sinkits, but them 300 plus cars that came into the Federation in the last couple of weeks, they are all used gasoline engine cars. If we're really talking about sustainability and sustainable island state, and we're talking about renewable energy, well, that shipment that came in should have been the first shipment of EV cars coming into the Federation. The solar plant need to come to fruition. The solar farm need to come to fruition. And then we develop the line of electric products, bicycles, scooters, different equipment and machines.
So if
it will be like byproducts. It will be like byproducts like you are talking about, the value products in our agriculture.
Yes.
They will be developing byproducts of that solar farm and the electric.
Yeah, but you get electric scooters, electric bikes, but we're gonna charge it to your house that is powered by the grid. I'm gonna encourage to put the homes and them all solar. Then you can charge from solar to solar. The same vehicle. You see what I mean? Because
all of that will transform the place. All of that will be developed.
Well, when they're serious about it, when people are serious, that's what I'm saying. When they're talking about geothermal electric, once people are serious to do things and they have an interest, they will do it. These people do things what they figure is not what they're serious about, you know. But That's it. That's
They
what.
will do it.
Yeah, but
you use the perfect word just now. Serious.
well, that's it.
These leaders, they are not serious, man. Yo, a contingent of them is over in Nigeria right now, but they're only over there for photo ops and to use up the taxpayers' money, that travel allowance, and the per diem that they get in. On top of them fat big increases they don't give themselves in Parliament in Sinkers and in Parliament in Nevers. They are taking advantage of the taxpayers' money, man.
Sometimes some of these trips, some of these trips are funded, eh?
For the people.
Yeah, but sometimes some of these, you gotta be fair. Sometimes some of these trips that they go on are funded by different agencies in like all the trips that they go on is paid out with tax.
So let them come to the people and say if that trip is sponsored or not.
Well, they're supposed to. Well, they're supposed to see what they're going on. They're supposed to really when they come back, what the trip was about. These are like when I travel, I come out and say where I'm going and what I do, and I give a report and all this stuff. But ever I don't do stuff like that because that's what it's supposed to be done professionally.
So that's the idea why I mentioned it. You know what I mean?
Yes, but a lot of trips are it's just like when I went to Indonesia. Yeah, it didn't cost Sinkers and Nevis government, the taxpayers here nothing. They sit Indonesia, they paid for the whole trip and everything funded by them. All they had to do here is choose two people. I was chosen from Nevis and someone from Sinkers chosen. It don't cost the taxpayers nothing. What it benefits the taxpayers, what we bring back and pass on the training and stuff like that, the information makes sure people benefit. That is the key. You see? And that's why you say up to present, I have a workshop coming.
If they're serious about that herb, man, yo, people will be growing that shit in their backyard and won't be harassed by the police, bro. But it's all about the control and bringing in the big wigs. But nice seeing the youth man they hire where he's in the studio with you. Nice.
Yes.
Addition tonight, man. And I wish the best going forward, man.
I give thanks. Yeah, man, respect.
Give thanks.
Yes, son, go ahead. That was the call of the day.
Yeah, man. Like as we continue on the topic of cannabis, well, let me just comment a bit on some of what the brother said before. Yeah, we definitely have to pay attention to what's going on. A lot of us need to wake up and be more conscious and hold our elected officials more accountable. And I keep saying that. It's something that I've been saying for the past maybe until now, that I have opted to not really, let me choose my words correctly, because I don't attack, but challenge. I think that might be a better word. I don't challenge the elected officials as much anymore, as much as I challenge my people, because I find the problem that I am seeing from my vantage point is not so much the politicians, because the politicians are going to do what politicians are supposed to do if they are politicians, right? And their objective in a lot of cases is different, because their objective is to win an election. They say that they're there to look after us. That's what they say. But we know their main objective is to win, and it is obvious by the efforts that they go into campaigning to make sure that you give them that contract again for 5 years. Where we have the problem is that we give them the contract and then we let them do what they feel like, and then we let them reverse it. Whereas they're the highest paid civil servants, we call them boss. We see them as boss. And so we don't hold our bosses, because we are the bosses. We don't hold our employees accountable. Now, that is where I sit with that part. Now, coming back to the cannabis issue now, right? The board that I sit on, maybe I need to get some clarity with that board. That board represents the entire cannabis industry, or that board is just specific to medicinal cannabis? That is just the medical cannabis board? Does that
Medical cannabis
encompass?
license authority. It's a
So
medical
it does not.
license authority board.
Okay. So it doesn't deal with recreational and spiritual cannabis.
It can be used on that grounds if it be related to information, because that is something is very touching at the format of the body in its own capacity too. So basically there are ways and means that can be relating in this discussion. And if we don't put it forward like that, that's why I state on the get-go, not just from this authority where I am on now. I'm stating it from even in the only authority of the commission that was established in 2017 that give its report into 2019. That in itself, we need to have a ground level of information that is valued for all people. So we can't discounting the people because of who we're trying to safeguard for or trying to push some kind of mechanism to keep people in a kind of standard that will say, oh, we are on this ground here alone and this is only what we're providing on. As I said, in his own capacity as the first the chair of the first commission that we had, I had to outline to her and said, no, you make some good points when you raise about the commission of the CAICOM, where they, in its own capacity of CAICOM, had outlined by Professor, I can't get her name off head right now, but the one who was chairing that commission of the CAICOM body. She's a lawyer by profession, and she outlined generally and report that the regional body have to look at their own country capacity in how they can approach this. Now, this is what we see much of our own country. Because Barbados, in its own aspect, still have heavy jurisdiction against herb, not just for Rastafari, but people in particular. So even though we see me a lot going on stage and talking a good talk, but in the backbone of it, we still have a lot of hinders towards what we can engage in this industry. So these are the format now that really need to drive by recreation and other avenue of the spiritual, because I would say basically here, even I'm a member of the board, I just stand out and tell them there is no jug in herb. Herb is not a jug. We have to get this off of the panel of our mind telling people, oh, we are only going with what the legislation says. So we can't be real. The legislation have defiled the rights of our people at this time. And if we don't have the gongs of educating people by the means that we know that is value for all, not a few, all. I mean, I will state this a general term. Whether you're Rasta or non-Rasta, you have a right for herb to use. And that is what the judge had stated in his deliverance towards the Sankofa matter. Even the Sankofa in channel the pattern to the full extent. That's why you see Eugene Hamilton, the former minister, and the former attorney general went into parliament and outlined and state boldly that the judge cannot tell the parliament what to do. Or he went to the courts to wait for assurance of what you were discussing at that time then. You better you didn't go court. Just do what you desire, and then you will see a lot of things are being discounted within your behavior. And this is what we're facing up to today. Even of this administration, and it's a shame to see you have two people who primitively coming out of Rastafari boil, and you cannot give a good count, because even the Prime Minister of our federation, he have this count, the value of the herb as a pattern. He said he used to call poison. They remove it from a. I mean, they still have it labeled in another form to discredit the herb use. So there is no factor that the people are being safely.
Yeah, son, we're going to wrap up in the next 5 minutes. We're up in the next 5 minutes, eh? Because we don't go into hours, cool. So just let you know. So in 5 minutes, then we wrap up. So we could do everything and then close in one time.
Okay. So, yeah. So the reason why I went and asked specifically if the board is in relation to just medical cannabis is because this is one of the things that I think I remembered when Garfield Alexander was the CEO, that he was mentioning that, at this point they were pushing the medical cannabis, but in terms of the recreational and the spiritual, that side has not necessarily been, fully addressed. Now, if it's the medical cannabis agenda that is being pushed, this is why I'm asking these questions, because if that is the case, a lot of these things that we might be fearful of is what may have to happen with the medical agenda, because, like I said earlier, the medical side of cannabis is very much regulated, and there's a lot of strict measures that are going to be in place. So you're talking about, as much as, like, for example, yes, we want legalization, and yes, we're saying that cannabis is not a drug, but however, legally, federally, cannabis is still on the book as a Schedule 1 drug. And a Schedule 1 drug means that, according to the definition of a Schedule 1 drug, it is a substance or chemical that is deemed to have no accepted medicinal use or purpose. Let me repeat that again. It's a substance or chemical that is deemed to have no accepted medicinal use or purpose. That is where cannabis is. It is the only plant that is in that category. So here the hypocrisy, and this is when yes.
When you're closing.
So they're going to use the same plant as a medicinal plant now. And it
That's
is
the
good for medicinal
hypocrisy.
purposes.
It has no medicinal use or purpose.
Is that the hypocrisy? Is smart. They're smart. They're into good school. So they could bamboozle the rest of us who are foolish, so we can interpret things, so we self we can't think. We're not gonna grow matter. So we can't interpret nothing. Just do what they say. You see, that's always the be.
We could say what we want. We could say what we want, but at the end of the day, as I is saying, the board is going to, and the board and the government would seek to, at least at this point, adhere to that fact that it is still a Schedule 1 drug. And as a Schedule 1 drug, this is where the problem with the banking system comes in terms of, how you're going to get your monies going through certain systems. There are mechanisms now that the industry is decriminalized and so on that could be utilized. That is one aspect. The other part that I'm really getting to, that is going to have to cement in our heads, when you talk about these big guys coming in to invest in the industry, they want to bring it in. It's not so much that they're going to want to bring it in, but it is because of what is going to be necessary to be a part of a medical industry. Most of us might not necessarily have the finance to put into the infrastructure, one, and two, to be able to take maybe the losses that come with the startup of such an industry. And I could use the industry that I worked in Canada. For example, when I worked at Afria in Canada, when they had cannabis and they were early in the start out, they have to have what they call GMP certification. So people have to come in and test the cannabis to make sure it meets that specification. Imagine you spend how much ever millions of dollars to grow this crop. And then when you reach to that point, you don't have your plan in your market to sell it this place and to collect this amount of money and so on. And then when you reach to that specification, they say, well, you have not meet that regulation, maybe some bug or something in it. That shipment totally gone. You have to start all over again. Now, if you don't have millions of dollars to start back again, crank back up again, then what? So you will find that in those industries, it is usually those people who have that kind of backing and will be able to take that lick to say, well, okay, we lose that. We might put that in oil or turn it into something else. And then in order for you to even do that, you would have to have the capacity to have the machinery now to use that which you can ship to be able now to turn it into some other value-added product, which means you'd have had to have the money to invest in those kind of things. So the industry that you and the board is seeking to put in place is going to be an industry that the average man is kind of, if they don't get themselves in line and to be able to meet some of these specifications, would be kind of left out. And then because if you're not licensed and so on, then you're going to be treated as what they call a black market. And so then the man who paying his license are going to feel, well, I pay my license, you doing anything up. No, the government going to know, you got to go fight down these people here because I paying and these ain't paying. So that means you're doing it illegal. So you're going to find that that is going to happen again. So we really have to, really look at the medical cannabis industry, look at what is going on, look at how it is rolling out in other places, and see how we're going to deal with this. So what I would suggest for you, Aya, and maybe even the Rastafari community, is to start to agitate to figure out, well, what about recreational cannabis and what about religious or spiritual cannabis? Because from what we're hearing from the government side, they're focused on just medical cannabis. And some of those things that you're talking about might just really end up being a fact because on the ground we might not necessarily have the kind of infrastructure and the kind of backing to invest in what might be necessary for us to meet the requirements for the medical side. So that's just my little wrap up, and we look forward to engaging. Yes,
I want to give a hint again and to the public generally. When the discussion come up about herb, it wasn't come up about a medical herb, It was come up against changing the legislation toward having people being petty crime, charging and herb. Now, these administrations see a venture where they could captivate instead of do the right thing. So this is why we are at this time, in this moment, and I tell Denzel Douglas when he was the leader at the time, come out and let us have discussion on this moment so we can be able to foster our people in the proper way. Because he himself was there when the discussion of the General Assembly in the United Nations was stated that we need to remove away these petty crime because it's building up the prison, and then these people who are of these petty crime, when they come out of that prison institution, they are not changing. They gone into a different format from what they were before. And this is why we see these managers, they don't want to have a proper level of education to give to our people and these values. That's why when you say of the board, it's in its own capacity, need to agitate more, not just the board, but the community too, have to be assured of what they're vibing on from recreation and spiritual, so we can able to have a better use in bringing formality to our people and not trying to see what we could dominate. Because no domination here, I mean, I use no one no can because I mean I can no one. We need to now have I turn to our people to make us start thinking clearly and bringing our better view for the future of the youth. Them.
Yeah, so before we go, just let me know, general public, coming up April 6th, a family fun day at Manso's last stop at Shabazz Organics, where you get melons, you have bouncing castle, you have Joe that then will come out with the ital. You know what I'm saying? You have get jelly, pumpkin, whatever is available on the farm. Just come out. It's a family fun day from midday Sunday to 6 at Shabazz Organics. Just come out and be educated. So remember, it's only $5 to enter. You have music by DJ Woodis. You have Bouncing Castle. You have one or two vendors will be there selling natural stuff. You know what I mean? Soaps and oils and stuff like that. And another one selling probably hot sauce and different. Just local vendors, not too much. You know what I mean? There's a few, 1, 2, 3, and you know what I mean. And then you have the shop open with Aisha and Amonis will be there doing the special cooking, the soul food cooking, and you get your local melon juice and different and other local drinks and stuff like that. So it's a nice place to come out on April 6th and chill out and relax on the farm and just find a place to chill and enjoy the environment and stuff like that. So looking forward for the general public. Last one we had the Mansers Fest, came off good save. So looking forward, I already have some melon, so I'm gonna save. Have some melon in the shop, but the majority are gonna hold back for the event for next Sunday. So that is just around the corner. So right now, I don't we plan two field of melons, direct seed. So I'm just cleaning up and just putting everything in order and stuff like that. Just maintaining for now and finding space to plant. They're gonna set some papaya seeds and plant with a couple hundred papaya and fill in some spaces here and there. But otherwise, the farm is looking beautiful from what I see and stuff like that. So I'm very pleased. At this stage, just been like 7 months. So looking good. Banana trees. I already start training up banana planting. Everything going beautiful. So just give thanks for the general public to continue to support Shabazz Organics and come through daily. So I really appreciate the stuff. Appreciate that and the schools who come through and all those who come through daily and support and stuff like that. So really appreciate that and all those who continue listening to the sound of my voice and Yasan yourself at Everything Agriculture Show. I want to give thanks for coming
One
through.
more thing.
Yeah.
One more thing before we go, just to address a little thing that you mentioned earlier when you were talking about, you said that we got a lot of talented people on the island and so we don't need any training and so on. We might not necessarily need training in terms of being good growers of cannabis and so on, because we might have a lot of techniques and so on. But in terms of if you're gonna really get into the medical cannabis industry, you're gonna need a lot of training for like somebody in equipment and to be able to
Of
make some
course,
of the
that's
different
fine. That's of
products
course.
and things like that.
Yes.
So I want people to realize that there are going to be those opportunities for young people to get into different areas and job opportunities as well. Because even in the industry itself, the cannabis industry, that side, when you start to get into creating the value-added products and so on, those would be new skills that our people are not necessarily exposed to. And some of the machinery and equipment and so on, they are not necessarily exposed to. So and knowledge and in terms of making the product, the chemistry behind it and the biology and all of that behind it. So as I mentioned that I am a part of an organization that is a Pan-African organization that seeks to do just that. Train people in terms of the development of these products, the cannabis and hemp and so on is a part of making the powder, making the milk, making the, and see how people in our communities could get established. So we create what is called a 1 hectare model, where we set up a 1 hectare, which is about 2.5 acres, with everything in it, aquaponics, different aspects of agriculture where you could learn, and then the setup that you could train to learn about the cannabis industry and so forth. So food for thought as we continue. There's a lot, where this topic is concerned. There's a lot that when it comes to agriculture that we can always start. So we could go all night. But we want to give thanks to all those who participated, all those who log in, whether make your comments on the Facebook wall, those who log in, via YouTube, Twitch TV. Thank you, Mikey, as well, still there in the background, for making your contributions this evening, being a part of the show. Rastaya, always a pleasure. I want to say good night to my mother over there in Fountain Village. I still my Daniel, enough respect, and my sisters, them, and everybody on that side. Everybody in Fountain.
I will send your list. I will send your list and send it to your mom, and let me know what is available.
Okay, no problem. Yeah, so give thanks, people. We look forward to having you again on the platform next week, Tuesday, when we do another edition of the Topics here on Real Entertainment Network. So enough respect to the Real Entertainment Network team, Reese, Ira, Alan, Chev, and everybody else. Enough respect, everybody. And I really give thanks for the opportunity to be a part of the Real Entertainment Network, and hope that folks can continue to share and encourage folks to be a part of Real Entertainment Network, please. Give thanks,
yes, but yes, son, you stick around until Ira, make sure Ira lock up. I will have to leave and job Ira. You understand?
Okay, no problem.
There. So
no problem.
So just give thanks, and also give thanks for Mikey for coming out and sharing his story and his contribution to the society within the New York State and also here in St. Kitts Nevis. Greatly appreciate Mikey coming in and give us, you know what I mean, a rundown of what the works he's been doing and about to do. And definitely for those who want to support Mikey, they can always reach out to me and whatever contribution they want to donate to him and stuff like that. And his cars, it's a beautiful thing. And also thanks for listening, Yasin and myself, along with Rosaya, and what's going on when it comes to cannabis, and also put pressure upon your ministers of government, agriculture, what's going on with the cannabis next year cannot be no function when it comes to agriculture and you don't have a whole section of cannabis products and different youths and so forth. It's not about me. So nobody look at me like me got made this. Me no me not face in the cannabis and Indian cast in our mind. That's why we like put these things earlier clap and put a stop to these things. So yes, son keep laughing all the time, but this is reality. That's what keep put it there. Cause what happened now in the day, everything mash up. You see? I know I meet my name behind then I look good. So yes, son, we'll move out. So I will continue run the mic until I come in and stuff like that. So folks, until next week Tuesday.
Let me just say something.
Yeah, go ahead.
Just to greet the family now. This the April month is the 3rd of April will be Empress Many Outlight. So the night being they will have a celebration to mark 134th Outlight. And on the same 6th bank having in Nevis, well in St. Kitts there will be a luncheon in honor of Empress Many at the Gideon Force. So anyone require ticket is a $30 ticket for engaging on the luncheon, and we'll have other aspect in highlighting of Empress Many on that day of the 6th of April at the Gideon Force starting at 11 a.m. in the morning.
Beautiful.
Organized by Organization of Africa Rastafari Unity, so ORU.
Yes, son, I out. And so you continue hold on the fort so long, are we?
Yeah. Yeah, so give thanks everybody. We're gonna be logging out just now. I think I communicated with the team already. So give thanks everybody, enough respect, guidance and protection until we meet again next Tuesday. Yeah. Are we still live? No? Yes? Yeah, so yeah, since we're still live, I would just say give thanks to everybody again for this edition of Everything Agriculture. Look forward to some international guests in the not too distant future. We will be having a number of different topics. Like we're going to be talking about a new app, Go Mobile app. We're going to be talking about an Afro-Caribbean link up. We're going to be talking about a cassava project international that's looking to start in Nigeria, but with anticipation of replicating in the Caribbean as well. So we've got a couple of interesting guests coming up in the not too distant future. Also, we will be having on the platform the head of the Cannabis Authority, and that will be coming up later on in April as well, hopefully. So we've got a lot that is going to be coming your way in a not too distant future. So people, we do appreciate you sticking and staying with us here on this platform, Real Entertainment Network, and also for actually making it your business every week to log in to us here on Everything Agriculture. We will have some interesting issues for the topic next week. So you want to be in tune for that. We're going to try to be a little bit more organized and seek to be able to maybe put something out, prior to kind of give you a little heads up as to some of the things that we will address um, in the topics and so on, and so on, so that we could get you all ready and geared up for the editions coming up. Because there's lots of things that's happening, a lot of issues that sometimes falls through the cracks because we sometimes, I find, limit ourselves to the the local politics or issues, sometimes not necessarily the broader spectrum of topics. So on the topic, we'll be seeking to bring some of those additional things on the platform. So look out for us Tuesday for another edition of the topic. And I did see some changes here, which kind of should be giving me a signal that master control is ready to just switch me over anytime. So if that's the case, people, enough love. Until next week, guidance and affection.
Hey, this man Easy, inviting you to tune in. It's all about everything agriculture with the man